Rob says, good day. I would like to ask a question. Thank you, Rob. Our lease is up in 2 months' time, and we wrote a letter to the estate agency saying we don't want to renew our lease, but we would like to stay on a month-to-month basis. We were told that the estate agency would get back to us regarding the request, and he says that was nearly 2 weeks ago. Rob wants to know, can the estate agency refuse us to stay on a month-to-month basis? He says, we pay our rent in full before month end, the same with our water and lights. Can they tell us that we can't stay on a month-to-month basis? Cilna?
Yes, so Rob, it's actually, you have legislative protection, but on the other hand, we have freedom to contract, which is fantastic news, unless you are obviously in a situation where you want a party to contract with you and they don't want you. We can't force a party into a contract ever. So what I'm saying is, in terms of Section 14 of the Consumer Protection Act, the landlord or the agent on behalf of the landlord must talk to you, must communicate to you 40 to 80 business days prior to the impending termination date. This is very important. You're going to have to go back and count to 40 to 80 business days. I see a lot of people just rounding it up or down to 2 months. And I'm like, no, that act doesn't say anything about any months. It says 40 to 80 business days. At that time, the supplier, being the landlord or the agent on his behalf, must communicate to you and say, we are going to let the agreement terminate on the termination date. Or we can continue with this agreement, but these are the changed parts of the agreement. Or other option is, if that party didn't communicate with you, which from what I hear in the question, and I'm really full disclaimer here, I only get a limited part of the facts. If they didn't come to you and nobody communicated anything with you, the Act says that contract will continue on a month-to-month basis in any event, regardless of what you are doing. If they come back to you and say, no, you know what, we don't want to conclude a month-to-month agreement. If you're not going to commit to a fixed term, be it 6 months, a year, more, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, whatever your heart desires, if they say this is our requirement for this lease agreement to continue, then if you don't agree to that, and we are in the 40 to 80 business days period, the agreement will terminate on the termination date. And unfortunately, there is nothing you can do to force the agent or the landlord to allow you to remain in the property on a month-to-month basis. However, from what I'm hearing, it sounds like they didn't communicate, and that means if you stay beyond your termination date, they can't just randomly evict you. But once again, I'm saying this, if this agreement was in fact governed by Section 14 of the CPA. So if you're a natural person and it was for fixed term, Section 14 will apply, and you can remain in occupation. Remember, that month-to-month agreement can be terminated by you, but also by the landlord on 1 month's written notice.